Welcome to the Fellowship Podcast, a place where we get to know the people who make up the Baptist Bible Fellowship. In each episode, we sit down with pastors, missionaries, and ministry leaders from across our fellowship to hear their stories, their ministry journey, and a few lessons they've learned along the way. Our goal is simple: to connect leaders, share stories, and strengthen the mission. And now, here's your host, Randy Harp. Let's join the conversation.
Hey, welcome to our next episode of the Fellowship Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. I am excited to introduce to you one of my good friends, Daniel Woodcock, pastors Cornerstone Church in Gadsden. Is that how you say it? Gadsden,
Yep, Gadsden.
Alabama,
Yep.
which is about an hour outside of Birmingham?
Yep. Just an hour east of Birmingham,
Yeah.
northeast.
Yeah. Fun town to be in, right downtown where you're at, and famous for the waterfall, right? In the cave.
That's right. We got the
Gadsden.
huge Nakalula Falls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Fun.
much fun.
So Daniel, thanks for joining us. Hey, take just a minute and kind of introduce yourself to those that may not know you and share a little bit about your background, maybe how you came to faith.
So I've been obviously I've lived it here in Gadsden the last 14 years. Been in Alabama really the last 17 years of my life, but really the only thing Southern about me is Korean. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of grew up all over. My dad was in the army, so I was born in California. I claim Arizona. That's where I lived 6 years of my life, which was the longest I lived anywhere before I went to Bible college. And um, uh, I was blessed with that. My parents, took us to church, grew up in church, made a profession of faith. As a younger kid, was baptized, but then actually it was at Bible college, Mission University, where as my junior year, is during a chapel service, I just felt the draw on the Holy Spirit, and put my faith and trust in Christ for real. And kind of been a wild whirlwind since then, but then serving in ministry full time since 2006 once I graduated.
Hey, talk a little bit more about growing up. You traveled around a lot. You said your dad was in the military.
Yeah.
What was the neatest place you ever lived? You talked about Arizona kind of as home, but what's the neatest place you lived?
Man, most of where we lived in the States was out west. The furthest east I'd ever been was Colorado, but we lived in Germany. I'd say probably the coolest place we've ever lived was Korea. We lived there for 2 years. And that was cool to see that and to experience it. And then Arizona was totally unique and different because people have this perception of what it is, but where we lived, like an hour from the border of Mexico. The environment's totally different. Still hot, but not like when you think like Phoenix hot. It's just different. So super cool to be able to have those experiences and see those things.
So traveled around like that. Who were some of the early influencers in your life? Was it just family or someone beyond family and churches or what? Who was it?
Yeah, you know, when you transition so much, you're living a max 2 years somewhere. You don't really get to build in super strong connections. So, of course, my parents, my dad's a godly man, my mom's a godly woman. They were influential in, helping me in my faith. But really, I would say the thing that really sticks out to me, I think of old missionary friend of ours. He was to Korea, Ike Foster.
Mm.
Man, he was close to our family, obviously, because my mom is Korean. So we had this special connection with him. And I remember being around them and, getting to experience them a little bit. But then when we lived in Arizona, one of my best friends, Ian Richards, he's now a missionary to Guam through the BBF. His dad, Rich, was our pastor there. And ultimately, when my dad felt that call to ministry, they were the ones that kind of became our sending church as my dad planted there in Arizona. So I would say his influence on my life was pretty strong because ultimately that's what led me to Mission University.
So talk a little bit about you said you made a profession of faith early, but it wasn't until
Mm,
your junior year of Bible college that
yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, a lot of people may question that, or how do you go
Mm,
to Bible college and not be a believer? Or, even today,
yeah.
I know the opening chapel at Michigan University this year, there were several salvations. What is that? Talk a little bit about that. What's that like?
Dude, so when you grow up in church, and especially I think the kind of churches we grow up in, you hear about hell a lot, right? And you don't want to go there. So, you make this decision. I believe it's genuine, you think you're doing the right things. But really, as I got older, specifically like middle school years, high school years, you really start to look back in your story and go, did I really know what I was doing? But then at that time, my dad became a pastor. And for me internally, not that my dad put any pressure on me, but I felt internally like I should probably know. And so it's just one of these things where it's like I'm constantly praying, God, if I'm not saved, save me. But it was more so I really just didn't want the punishment. I didn't want to go to hell, but I didn't really care about the relationship with God. And so as I went forward, I'd go to summer camps, and I think the typical thing, you go to summer camp, you experience this kind of like God high, and then you go back to just regular life and you kind of slip in very stereotypical one way at church. Everyone thinks I'm a good kid, but then at school, I can be who I feel like I really am. And I'll never forget, I kind of felt like, maybe God's working on me. I think this is the next step for me. And dude, this is back in the day. Like we went to a summer camp and I felt like I was supposed to be a pastor. So we had preaching competitions. All right. And going into my senior year, I won the preaching competition. Okay.
Wow.
And so I'm like, oh, this is maybe confirmation that I'm supposed to be doing this. And after going into my senior year, my parents homeschooled me because my dad thought we were going to move because he'd been retired from the military and now the church wasn't doing so well. And so we thought we may be moving. And that kind of, really messed some things up. I was really frustrated and upset with that, kind of falling again, same patterns. I go on a missions trip in Mexico and it was like God opening my eyes. I feel like, no, I really am supposed to follow God in this direction. I go back to summer camp and 2 years in a row, preaching champ right here. Okay. And I use that as like, this is confirmation. Go to Bible college and you just kind of get in this zone. I think that my junior year, I was an RA at Mission University. And if anyone should have it figured out, I should.
Hmm.
But I knew in that moment when the message was being preached, the conviction of the Holy Spirit and that drawing, and I knew that I had allowed pride and all these things to overshadow where I knew my soul was at. And it was that day, and everything changed.
Wow.
Everything changed. I was at Graceway Baptist, Pastor Bob there, and he baptized me, and it was so cool. And I began to like question my calling because I'm like, how does that work? You're just kind of going through how am I called to ministry if I didn't even belong to the Lord yet? That summer, I spent the entire summer interning at a church in Chicago, and man, I forget the guy's name, but he gave me this book, and it really changed the way I thought about everything. 12 Ordinary Men by John MacArthur.
Yeah.
And reading that really helped me understand that the Holy Spirit, man, he was doing his work. He was drawing me. He allowed these things to happen. And it just so happened that it would be there at Bible College, Mission University, where my life would change. But the Holy Spirit was working and bringing me to this place in my life. And it just energized me for ministry, knowing, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I can walk confidently following the Lord.
That's incredible. I love that story. You talked about Mission University. What years were you at college there and when did you graduate?
Yeah. Got there in '02 and then graduated in '06. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we were some of the first ones we brought in casual Fridays, where we didn't have to wear the tie on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I didn't
that was like
enjoy
our
that. I
group.
didn't get that
Yeah.
benefit when I was there.
Yeah.
So we were just talking before. I thought it was 10 years ago this year that we met. at a fellowship meeting in High Street, but we actually met when you were in college. So you got to travel
Yep.
with Brian Moore some and
Yep.
do some things. So that's when we met. So we go back longer than I thought we did.
Yeah.
Uh, so after Bible college, what happened next? Where some of the places that you served in ministry?
Dude, so this is the craziest story, man. So my senior year, I knew I was gonna go somewhere, but it's you have other guys who are searching for churches. You have different churches that are coming to college looking for people. So in my head, I thought through like a couple things, and this is just where I was. I was single at the time. I didn't get married at college, and so I said I was praying for a decent sized church. I didn't want to go to like a tiny country church. It's just something I was praying for. I wanted to be in a city that uh, was a decent size because I knew potentially I may meet someone, and that's not going to happen if I'm in a small town. And then the third thing, and this is so dumb, I don't know why it wasn't like something, I guess maybe because I grew up in Arizona, but I wanted to be close to the beach. All
Huh.
right. And so in my head, I'm thinking probably Florida or something like that, something coastal. And there were a couple of girls that were at the school who were from Alabama. And I'll never forget this girl. Her name was Casey. She comes up to me. She goes, "Hey, our church needs a youth pastor, and we think you'd be awesome." And I'm like, Asian people don't live in Alabama, you know? And so I was like, I don't even think this is an opportunity. I don't even think this is an option. Um, but they said, "Hey, just interview." And I said, "Okay." So I interviewed. Her dad came up and he was a deacon, and I interviewed with him. He was working with the student ministry and their kids were involved. And so I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool, And then um, I talked to the pastor, Pastor Sammy, and uh, it's cool. I think everything was great. But then I found out that it's between me and another guy who's from Georgia. He's married and he's like athletic, and they're telling me their youth group's athletic, and I'm like, I'm just the scrawny Asian dude, like this is not a fit. So they actually bring me down first, and I stay there a week, kind of candidating. And man, let me tell you something. That first Wednesday I was there, I was doing the student service, and it was like a camp service. You know what I mean? Like just those powerful, you feel the Holy Spirit, this was special. And then as I stayed there, I was like, man, then I preached Sunday night for the whole church. They had me preach, and this is who I am. And then the pastor gets up and he says, "Hey, I want to bring all the students down front." And then right there at the end, during, I'm praying with all the students. And when I left, I said, "Man, my heart is right here.
Hmm.
This is wild. I never saw myself going there." And then they ended up calling me to be their first student pastor. So I was there for 4 years. My wife was already at one of the local universities in our area. Her parents actually went to our church. So I was there for a year. Then we dated for a year and got married. My kids are there. I spent a year in Denver working
What
at a
what church
church
what church was that in Alabama?
in Wilson Avenue. So Chris Duke is actually pastoring there now.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's super cool connection. So that was
Well, that's
there
South
right there.
Alabama. That's pretty close to the beach.
Yeah, it was. And that's what I'm saying. It ticked all the boxes, you know. And so just powerful. We saw God do some incredible things,
Hmm.
in terms of student ministry and stuff. And then from there, spent about a year in Denver. Um,
Is that
and
why
we
you had the
trained.
Broncos football behind you?
No, dude, I grew up Broncos fan, man. My whole life. I was born, my dad is from Montana, so that's Broncos country. So
Yeah.
I was born the year Elway was drafted,
Oh, there
so
you go.
I'm a purebred, all right.
Yeah. So why is your
Uh
name not John then? It should be John instead
yeah,
of
yeah, it should
Daniel.
be. It should be. Uh so then after we left Denver, we're kind of in this transition thinking we I get involved in a church. It was actually a Southern Baptist church in Gadsden. My wife had never heard of Gadsden. I never heard of Gadsden. Just this, good sized town. Our county's 100,000 people. We're there. Typical is a lot of transition. Man, there was a lot of issues there within that church. So we were only there like 16 months. We leave. We think, okay, what's next? Well, church planting. I have a heart for this. We're probably going to go back to Denver and plant a church. And as we started walking through that process, God confirmed to us it was church planting. That's what we're supposed to do. But as we tried to go out west, it was like kept running into like blocked doors. It was like running into walls. And so we ended up coming on staff at a church, helping them with next generation college students,
Mm.
children's ministry, doing some youth stuff. And man, we were here for a little over a year. And then uh, the church just falls apart.
Mm.
Uh, Pastor splits the church. And then overnight, a church of like 250 became a church of 65. Average age was 65. I'm 30 years old at the time. And I'm just like, what in the world did we just walk into? Um, so as we went forward, I just kind of told them, like, hey, if you are just needing someone to pastor you, I'm probably not the right guy for you. But if you want to start over, I'll help you do that. You don't even have to call me to be your pastor. I'll just help you because this is how I'm gifted. This is what I'm wired to do. And so from that, that was graduation Sunday when everything fell apart, 2014. August 2014, Cornerstone was born, and then we launched officially in February of 2015. They called me to be their pastor. It's actually on my birthday, January 4th, 2015. I became lead pastor, and then we just celebrated 10 years this year.
Wow, that's incredible. And
Yeah,
God's done some incredible things. I've been privileged to be there with you a couple of times, and it's exciting to see, a growing church in that town, right downtown on the
yeah.
square.
Yeah. So, when people think like Bible Belt, you have these preconceived notions, and it's true. Like I can look out my window and we're one church. There's the Methodist church, there's the First Baptist church, and Catholics are just one block over this way. This was an old Presbyterian
Mm.
building. And we have one gospel teaching church for every 300 people in our county of 100,000.
Wow.
But what's wild is 7 out of 10 don't go to church anywhere.
Mm.
And that's saying that 30,000 people in our county go to church, and the numbers just don't substantiate that. So our heart has always been, because we're downtown, we want to reach the 7 out of 10.
Mm.
Can we reach the person that feels like church isn't for them, who's been disillusioned because of their experiences or because it is the Bible Belt? You have that kind of judgmental hellfire brimstone has pushed a lot of people away.
Mm.
And because we have focused on those people, we have seen growth from not just young families. We have tons of young families, but we're seeing older people come to our church, multi-generational, multiracial,
Mm.
even just socioeconomic classes, truly diverse. Man, and that is just so humbling to see and be a part of something like that. Has been really cool.
Yeah, that is exciting. So you're 10 years in now. What's that's kind of an important benchmark. But
Yeah.
what's something in ministry right now at your church that you're excited about, that you're keeping you up at night, praying about, dreaming about, that you're excited about doing right now?
Well, you know, as of right now, our country in the last couple of weeks, I mean, there was a pretty tragic event. I think the last time an event like this happened, I was a senior in high school talking about 9/11. So we've seen, I'm sure like lots of churches have seen tons of guests coming in. Um, and we were already like this year, we're already growing pretty substantially, but this has been like a huge growth swing. And I think in the last 3 weeks, we've seen 13 people put their faith and trust in Christ.
Wow.
We've got a list coming. I don't know. We're going to probably baptize, 10 or 15 here in the next month. this year we've seen, I think, right at 110 salvations. We've baptized already over 40 of those people. Um, you know, we run two services currently, and it's kind of getting to that spot where, man, because of our spacing, because of parking, what does it look like to add a third service? That's a big step. It's a big jump. There's a lot of uh, things internally you have to have on the right page,
Right.
and so I've always felt like that was going to be coming, but now it seems like that may be coming sooner rather than later.
So you are currently right now serve as the state representative of the BBFI in Alabama. How did you talked about it some? I mean, you shared a lot of names that are BBFI guys like Ike Foster in Korea, Rich
Yeah,
Richards in Arizona, Brian Moore, guys that you've been around
yeah.
BBFI guys. But how did you get connected to the BBFI initially? Was it through Ike Foster in Korea?
No, ironically, when my dad was stationed in Colorado Springs, we were connected to a church called Gideon Baptist. It's the first recollection of like a BBF church, which now Cross Creek, Mike Haley pastors that church. So we were there back in the day, and that's when my dad really that I know now, his life really changed. Got serious about ministry, was serving. He did the bus ministry. We drove buses, picking kids up and just had some really amazing experiences. So then from there, we moved to Korea, and that's where we got connected to a church called Yongsan Baptist. It's a BBF church there in Korea to military families. And then, yeah, at some point, and I think it was probably in Colorado where they got connected to Ike. And then when we moved from Korea to Arizona, that connection continued. And we got plugged in at Central Baptist there with Rich Richards. And so he was kind of influential in telling us about, hey, this is the college I went to.
Hmm.
You should check it out. And, so from there, I've been a part of it. Met Brian my junior year. He became the chaplain there at the Mission University. And honestly, man, I just was blessed because he really invested a lot in me. Those 2 years of Bible college, I'd sit in his office and he'd just tell me everything student ministry. I'm just writing notes and just learning all that I can. And I honestly feel like he really helped set me up moving into ministry. I feel like I had a leg up where like lots of guys are trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
I had a lot of tools and things, and having him kind of mentor me has been so powerful. Um, so I guess really since I was a kid, I was involved in the BBF. And I think there were some seasons there in transitions of, especially being at like a church that's like a Southern Baptist church. I'd never been affiliated with that in my life. You kind of fall away from it. But when I started pastoring, I knew that I wanted to be a part of the fellowship because of my personal experiences and how much I felt like guys in the fellowship invested in me. And so, you can think about problems and complain about it, or you can be a part of solutions. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what I've always felt like, hey, if I can do something, whatever it looks like, encourage guys, be there, support, that's what I want to do.
Now I want to ask you something. I didn't prep you on this question, so I hope I don't catch you off guard too much. One of the things it's probably 7 years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, when the first time I came to Alabama at your church when we relaunched the Alabama Fellowship
Yeah.
because the Alabama State Fellowship had closed down and dissolved. And I talked with you, and you agreed to help relaunch it. We did it at your church, and you invited a lot of guys up, and
Yeah.
was that? I'm guessing 7 or 8 years ago now, and that now the Alabama Fellowship is doing well. You guys meet regularly, and you do a lot of meeting over Zoom. There's a lot of
Yeah.
bivocational guys in the state. What's something that's you've seen that's worked well in relaunching a state fellowship like you have in Alabama? Because you connect with a lot of guys, a lot of
Yeah.
church planners in Alabama. How's it worked well for you? What have you done?
I I think part of it, you got to know the kind of person that you are. And so for me, I love just connecting with other people. I feel like in a crazy way, growing up military has allowed me to adapt to multiple environments. I think that's why I fit in so well here in the South because there's so many things like it's similar to like my upbringing that relates here. I just don't talk, I don't sound like they do. You know what I'm saying? So with that,
You don't have the Southern drawl going on.
I don't have the draw. Uh, but with that, when I'm talking to pastors, there's always something I feel like I can connect with them about. And then, I mean, pastors, like you find it like most guys, they're lonely. They don't have like a force. They don't have people there. So if I can just be like that encourager, that Barnabas to somebody, if I could just say, hey man, I believe in you, I'll help you. Let me help connect you to other guys. I think that's really what starts it is the relational aspect of, hey, let me you got to meet this other guy that's in our state. And so then you start connecting those things together, and then guys are like, I know so and so, and they start making that, and now it's like, hey, let's when we bring missionaries in, hey guys, let's have like a group of churches that a missionary can spend several weeks here in Alabama because we can connect them at different churches. Church planners, let's like get behind this guy and support what he's doing because we're going to do more together than we're going to do by ourselves.
I love it. That's great. Let's talk about leadership for a minute. Leadership lessons. What's something that if you could go back, you said you're 10 years in at Cornerstone. If you could go back and tell yourself something 10 years ago that you've learned now, what would that one lesson be?
I wish I would have told myself, you don't have to do it all right now.
Mm,
So when you're launching a church and they tell you you got to have all these things, you're already trying to figure out the structural stuff. You're trying to figure out like your weekly worship. You're trying to figure out like the kids ministry. You're trying to figure out even simple things like, am I passing out like little worship guides, little booklets, or, all these things. And then on top of that, you're like, well, I gotta have like, small groups or Sunday school class or something. And that first year, I tried doing all of it
mm,
at the beginning, but I also knew where my strengths lied. And it's, Sunday morning, it's connecting with people, it's the influence, but I'm also trying to bring up like these small groups. And that part really suffered. And I think if I could go back, I'd tell myself, let those things happen naturally.
mm.
You got to bring in other leaders. So it's okay if it doesn't all happen right now. Like Sunday mornings, that's already a lot just by itself. Focus on that, make it the best you can. And through growth and through natural just raising up of leaders, those other things will happen.
That's good. We try to see what other people are doing, think we got to do everything that they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're looking at like, you have those outlier stories where it's like, well, man, well, this church just overnight became a church of 1,000. And like,
Right.
that's not everyone's story. And you're in a different area. Context is different, what you're doing is different. Here, like where we're at, it's funny. A lot of times people look at what we're doing, and I would say we're doing what churches do in all kinds of places all over the United States. But here in our area, it was like, whoa, those guys are edgy. They use movies on Sunday mornings. Like, what are they doing over there?
Right.
And so you have to contextualize what you're doing, and then again, I think it's hard as pastors to not compare.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm not called to be like the other guy. I'm called to be faithful where I'm at. So let me just be faithful doing that and not, of course, I want to grow. I want to get better. I want to see my church grow. I want to see salvations, all those things. But when I become the best version of who I am as I follow Jesus and I'm faithful to honor that, God's going to bring all those other things in his timing. And I wish I could have saw it then. And I see those things now. But I wish back then, like, hey, I don't have to go for all of it right now.
Right. Yeah. Good. Good. What's something that God's teaching you right now? What's something through your private devotions or in ministry? What's something God's teaching you right now?
Well, I think for our church, it's really God's been kind of been showing me, hey, these last 10 years, this is the analogy I've been using with like our elders, with our church. Like the last 10 years, like you're having to build, you're trying to do all this stuff. And for the last 10 years, I feel like we've been playing Jenga, you know, and the more you build up, like the less stable things become. And so I said, for these next like 10 years, if we could focus on, of course, we want to keep growing, but building a base more like a pyramid
Mm,
where it's just a firmer base. Like, are we investing really in families? Here's this person they've been coming, like, where are they at in terms of their growth spiritually? Are we content with them just to be a Sunday attender, or are we seeing that growth in terms of their involvement in the church? Are they serving? Are they in a small group? Are we discipling them? How are we investing in families? What are we doing with our deacons that can minister to families better? So I think for me, church-wise, it's really focusing in on building that base so it's healthier down the road and in the future. And then for me personally, I could say, as you have kids, they're getting older, and then of course the church is growing, and you're balancing now staff and budgets and all these things. It's uh, to really just model after that rest, Sabbath,
mm,
getting away, investing in yourself, taking time, and to say, okay, ministry that doesn't get done today, it's still going to be there tomorrow.
right.
So, of course, I'm driven. I want to see stuff happen. I'm a gas pedal. I want to go forward. But that's not going to happen if I'm not healthy spiritually, if my family's suffering, if I'm putting an unhealthy pace on my staff. So I'm just learning to just it's okay to not go full speed all the time. You got to have those natural seasons. Have times where you press in, but it's got to just be a season. You can't wear people out.
Yeah, that's so good. And by the way, I want to steal that illustration of the Jenga and the pyramid. So I'm definitely still on that. You'll see that down the road somewhere on an art
Yeah,
somewhere. So
that's awesome. You can
hey,
take it for sure.
I might give you credit for it. We'll see if anybody listens. Hey, let's lighten it up a little bit. If you weren't in full-time vocational ministry, if you wouldn't have been back-to-back preaching champ at youth camp, uh,
Yeah.
and you weren't in full-time ministry right now, what is it? What would you be doing? I want to guess first. Would you be
Okay.
the ultimate warrior and do all your
Yeah.
what do they call them? The challenges where you run through the mud
Those
and
obstacle
do
core
everything?
races. Yeah. Obstacle course race.
Yeah,
I've thought about this a lot because I would have been in Arizona. Honestly, like if I was really thinking about it, man, I think my life would be a mess. But let's just say everything was good and it just I didn't go ministry route. I think about that like I would need something where I can tell people like ideas and they can implement them, almost like a marketer or something. I'd
mm,
have to do that
yeah,
because I don't really know if I'm good at anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good at giving ideas and creating things, but I need people to make it happen. So maybe like a marketer or some type of
yeah.
salesman.
Well, there you go. That'll work. Well, no, you're just the ultimate selling the ultimate thing right now,
I'm
right?
ultimate
The
sales. Yeah,
gospel.
that's right.
So.
Absolutely.
All right, I call these quick hitters. So I want to give you a couple options, and you just tell me which one fits you best.
All right.
Would you rather read a book or watch a movie?
I'll watch a movie all day.
Yeah. What's the best type of movie? Action?
Dude, yeah, for
Are you a
sure.
rom-com? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, of course you gotta throw one of those in every now and then. But dude, I'm all in on like the superhero Marvel stuff. I love it, man. Those just getting involved, storylines, that stuff is cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you prefer to stay up late or are you the early bird that gets up early?
No, I stay up late.
Yeah.
I'm more stay up late. Yep.
Indoor activities or outdoor activities?
I love being outside, doing things outside. That's kind of new for me, but man, I've gotten into in the last 10 years, gotten into hunting, which is wild. And then of course I love obstacle course races.
Yeah.
It's so working out and stuff. So those things trying to just be healthy. So I'd say
Hey,
outside.
what's the craziest obstacle course race that you've done? I see you on Facebook. You'll post you'll post the
Yeah.
pictures they take of you like running through fire or
Yeah,
swimming
yeah,
in
yeah.
mud, whatever.
So the thing that I love about obstacle course races is you're just challenging yourself. You're really just racing against yourself, right? So the Savage Race is one of the national ones. It's super fun. But then we have a local race here. It's called the Barbarian Challenge, and it's like when you do something crazy, like I climbed this wall or this hill was crazy, or here's this kind of thing I have to carry myself over. That kind of a sense of accomplishment, like. dude, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah.
That's just it's a cool rush. And then now my boys are old enough to do it too and see them be like super successful. Man, that stuff is just fun.
Yeah, that is fun. All right, you prefer a good burger or barbecue?
Oh, burger all day. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather go to a live concert or a live sporting event?
Sporting event.
Yeah. What's your favorite sport?
Dude, it'd be football. I
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Who's your team? Are you a college or NFL guy?
No, Broncos all the way. Now, I live in the South, everyone's all SEC, Alabama or Auburn. But every Sunday they're gonna hear their pastor talk about the Broncos.
Uh, your favorite road trip snack? Are you salty or sweet?
Oh man, I'm a sweet tooth guy. Love like little Debbie's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Favorite meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
I'm a dinner guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you prefer texting or talking to people in person or over the phone? Texting or talking?
It depends on the thing. I love a great conversation. Grab some coffee, have a conversation. If I just need informational, I'm gonna shoot you a text.
Yeah, yeah. All right, when you're studying for your sermons, do you like it in your nice quiet office like you're in right now or a coffee shop?
I'm an office guy. I can't have the distraction. I like to zone in and just go after it.
Yeah. All right, last question. If you had one meal to eat the rest of your life, that's all you could have. You want pizza or tacos or something else?
One meal, dude, I would go something Korean for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Korean
just,
barbecue is no joke.
dude, yeah, it would definitely be something Korean food for sure.
Yeah. What's your favorite Korean food? When I went to South Korea, I had a hard time finding good food that I could eat. I stuck with
Okay, okay.
the American restaurants when I was
You
in
got to do
South.
like bulgogi, you know what I mean? Like it's ribeye, it's just marinated ribeye with rice and some
Hmm.
vegetables. That you should have hit me up, dude.
I
I
know
would have told you all the things.
that. No, that
Uh,
sounds good. What's it called?
it's
Bulgogi?
called bulgogi. That's like classic, one of their most famous, or something else called kalbi. It's a LA style short rib,
Hmm.
and so those two things are going to be great. Tons of different pork and other different options, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That I can handle. Some of the others
yeah,
I
I
don't
could
know.
have helped you out, man. I could have helped you out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, Daniel, thanks for taking the time to do this podcast. Any last words you want to share with everybody listening?
Nah, man, I'm just, thankful. I'm excited to see what God is doing. Man, the 75 years of BBF, that just shows God's, faithfulness. The ministry is still growing strong. There's people that are coming up. There's people passionate about serving the Lord. So I'm just thankful to be a part of just men and women who are banding together to try to accomplish the gospel and reach the world. Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Daniel, thanks for taking the time to join us. Hey, thanks for taking the time to join us. Looking forward to seeing you next time on the Fellowship Podcast.